These are the players I would trade for in fantasy football before it's too late. One is Deebo Samuel. I know he had that huge game against the Seahawks. I know only 3 catches, but he had that 70-yard touchdown, had 20, I think around 20 fantasy points. Been hurt since. Now there's still no Brandon Ayuk the rest of the season, and they're going to have to rely on Deebo. Obviously McCaffrey's coming back, but then you've got Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, right? Like Deebo Samuel is going to have an excellent second half of the season if he can stay healthy. Another guy I'd look to trade for at a low price is Malik Nabers at this point. I mean, the receptions are there. I believe 13 targets last week, 11 the week before. He just hasn't had a touchdown in a while. And this is where you can pounce and get him before those touchdowns start coming in, right? Then instead of, 15 fantasy points on a weekly basis, that goes to 25 like he was having earlier in the season. Like that's certainly on the trajectory and going to happen. So I would try and get him while you can. And the same goes for Tyreek Hill. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, they're still not doing anything. 12 fantasy points, 13 fantasy. I don't care. He's Tyreek Hill. He's got Tua back healthy. He's going to get better every week. Sure, did we want from 12 fantasy points to 13? No, we wanted 12 to 20 last week. But that'll come with the explosive play, a 70-yard touchdown, which is going to happen probably this weekend. I think he has an excellent game. Try and get him now. Puka Nacua is another guy I would trade for in fantasy leagues. I mean, he left the game. Obviously was ejected. Cooper Kupp had an excellent game 2 weeks ago when he was limited. What do you have, 100 yards? Puka Nacua is going to be an elite option the rest of the season. You can probably get him cheap right now. Make sure to trade for George Pickens if you can before this weekend. I mean, 2 touchdowns that were called back. The receptions are there. The targets are there. He's just destroying every single defender in his way. And his rapport with Russell Wilson is unparalleled, right? Like by anybody he played with before. And I'd also trade for Tyrone Tracy Jr. He's becoming a workhorse back. Singletary's really not in getting many snaps. And at the end of the day, just because he didn't get a touchdown last week, his value dropped a little bit. People are like, oh, okay, well, they forgot about him. That's what people do. When someone has less than 15 fantasy points, they'll forget about you, even though the 2 weeks previous he was dominant, right? He's getting almost 100-plus yards every single week. Next I go get is Cedric Tillman, wide receiver 1 the past 3 weeks, 22-plus fantasy point average. If you can get him, he's going to be great the rest of the year. I'd also go get Brian Thomas Jr. just because he had 1 week where, he was hurt, he played, didn't look great. I still think he's an elite option on a week-to-week basis, a wide receiver 2 and possibly even a wide receiver 1. Finally, on the tight end market, TJ Hawkinson's the guy I'd go get. 1 game came back, right? People are like, oh, does he have it still? Trade for him before he starts going off on a weekly basis in an offense that has an excellent play caller in Kevin O'Connell and is high-powered. Did I miss anybody? Let me know in the comments and make sure you follow for more fantasy football content like this.